journey and your last two. I swim with tea when they turned in. The staring down to mute and can learn the pole that sunk he died.
When many people think about tax preparation, they think about forms, receipts, deadlines, and tax calculations. But true tax planning is much bigger than that. A professional tax advisor doesn't just look at a tax return. They look at the entire person and the life behind the numbers. At the center of this slide is the client. Surrounding the client are the major areas that influence every tax decision: family, business, home ownership, children's education, retirement planning, investments, debt and risk management, and personal life goals. These areas are all connected. A decision made in one area often affects several others. For example, a strategy that reduces taxes today might also impact retirement savings, future investment opportunities, or family financial security. On the left side, we see the traditional tax preparer. This approach focuses mainly on the current year's return. The goal is to complete forms, enter numbers, meet deadlines, and calculate tax accurately. While these tasks are important, they only answer one question: what happened this year? On the right side, we see the strategic tax advisor. Instead of looking backward, the advisor looks forward. They think 5, 10, or even 20 years into the future. They seek to understand the client's goals, forecast future outcomes, and build a long-term plan that supports financial success throughout the client's life. The advisor is not simply solving a tax problem. They are helping the client make better financial decisions. At the bottom of the slide is the most important lesson of all. You cannot plan taxes well until you understand the person's life. The tree illustration reinforces this idea. Every successful tax strategy grows from strong roots. Those roots include the client's family situation, personal goals, business interests, future plans, financial security, and wealth objectives. If the roots are weak, the strategy will be weak. But when the foundation is strong, a successful tax strategy can grow and support the client for many years. As you begin learning compensation planning, remember this principle. Always plan for the person, not just the tax return. That mindset is what transforms a tax preparer into a trusted tax advisor. Now that we understand why holistic tax planning matters, the next question is, how do professional tax advisors actually perform holistic planning? The answer is through a structured process. This slide shows the 6-step framework that transforms tax preparation into strategic tax planning. The journey begins with Step 1. Understand the client. Before discussing taxes, salaries, or dividends, we must build a complete picture of the client. That includes understanding their family situation, business operations, assets, liabilities, income sources, retirement objectives, and overall financial goals. Without this foundation, any tax recommendation is simply a guess. Step 2 is to think beyond this year. Many tax preparers focus only on the current year's tax return. Professional planners look much further ahead. They consider future income, retirement plans, major life events, and even the eventual sale or succession of the business. The goal is to understand where the client is heading, not just where they are today. Step 3 is to connect tax and financial planning. Taxes do not exist in isolation. Every tax decision affects cash flow, investments, retirement planning, and long-term financial security. This is why successful advisors view all these areas as interconnected pieces of a larger financial strategy. Step 4 is to forecast instead of guess. rather than relying on assumptions or rough estimates. Professional planners use software and projections to model different scenarios. They forecast personal taxes, corporate taxes, deductions, credits, and future financial outcomes. This creates greater accuracy and helps eliminate surprises. Step 5 is to explain the plan. A great plan has little value if the client does not understand it. The advisor's role is to present options clearly, explain the trade-offs, and help the client understand the impact of each decision. Whether the choice involves salary, dividends, or a combination of both, the client should be able to see the consequences and make an informed decision. And finally, step 6 is to build long-term trust. When advisors consistently provide accurate forecasts, clear explanations, and reliable guidance, trust begins to grow. Clients gain confidence in the planning process. They experience fewer surprises, better outcomes, and greater peace of mind. Over time, this trust leads to stronger relationships, repeat business, and referrals. Notice the flow shown across the bottom of the slide. Understand, forecast, explain, guide, trust. This sequence represents the core of professional tax planning. When followed consistently, it helps advisors move beyond simply preparing tax returns and become trusted long-term partners in their clients' financial lives. The most important takeaway from this slide is that great tax planning is not a single calculation. It is a process, a repeatable system that begins with understanding the client and ends with building lasting trust. That process is what separates professional planners from ordinary tax preparers. This final slide brings together the most important lesson from the entire section. The goal of becoming a tax professional is not simply to prepare tax returns. The goal is to become a trusted tax planner. On the left side of the slide, we see the traditional form filler. This individual spends most of their time dealing with paperwork, tax forms, deadlines, calculations, and immediate tax problems. Their focus is largely on a single year. They calculate tax, report numbers, and react to information that has already happened. While these tasks are necessary, they represent only a small portion of the value that clients truly need. Many tax preparers stop at compliance. They tell clients what happened, but they do not help clients understand what should happen next. In the center of the slide, you can see the staircase that represents professional growth. The first step is to understand the client. Before making recommendations, you must understand the person's family situation, business circumstances, goals, and financial reality. The second step is forecasting. Instead of guessing, you project future outcomes and evaluate the long-term impact of today's decisions. The third step is planning. This is where strategies are designed based on the client's unique circumstances. The fourth step is explaining. A good plan only works when the client understands it. Your role is to communicate clearly, simplify complex concepts, and help the client understand the trade-offs involved. The fifth step is guiding. You are no longer just providing information. You are helping clients navigate important financial decisions with confidence. And finally, the sixth step is trust. Trust is earned when your forecasts are accurate, your advice is thoughtful, and your recommendations consistently support the client's goals. At the top of the staircase, the tax preparer evolves into a strategic advisor. This transformation is what separates an average practitioner from a highly valued professional. On the right side of the slide, we see the trusted tax planner. Notice the difference. The focus is no longer on paperwork. The focus is on people. The advisor is helping a family, supporting a business owner, discussing future opportunities, and building a financial roadmap. The conversation is about business growth, retirement planning, financial security, family wealth, and long-term success. This is the true purpose of tax planning. The comparison table highlights the difference. A form filler looks at 1 year. A trusted planner looks 5 to 20 years ahead. A form filler files returns. A trusted planner designs strategies. A form filler reports numbers. A trusted planner forecasts outcomes. A form filler focuses on tax. A trusted planner focuses on life goals. And that brings us to the most important message on the entire slide. Plan for the person, not just the tax return. When you understand the client, forecast the future, design thoughtful strategies, and guide informed decisions, tax planning becomes much more than compliance. It becomes a tool for helping people achieve business success, financial security, comfortable retirement, lasting wealth, and meaningful life goals. That is the difference between preparing returns and building futures. And that is what transforms a tax preparer into a trusted tax planner.